We spent 3 weeks in Bali, and here are some of the fun things we did in our time there. First up, we went to Tegallalang rice fields. I hope I said that right, but it's right in Ubud. There's a restaurant there, you can zipline, and they also have a few different swings you can also rent out. It's about $5 per person Australian, about $30 Australian to zipline, and $20 Australian for the swing. You can also rent a big flowy dress to get photos on the swing. That was about $15 Australian. There's two parts to the zip line. The first one gets you to the other side, and then you go from that side back to where you originally started. You can also walk through the rice fields. There's a bunch of little paths you can take as well, and you might even see some bunnies. The bunnies were really friendly, and we actually got to pet them. The zip line was so much fun. There wasn't really much of a line. We were able to go right away as soon as we booked. Then they get you set up with the gear, the helmet, all of that, and then you're off. I actually rented one of the dresses to get photos in. This dress didn't really fit me well, but it didn't matter because I just really wanted the back part of it. You're strapped into the swing, so you really can't go anywhere. I felt very safe doing this. There was two guys who were pushing me, and then another guy, he took my phone and he was taking photos and videos of the whole thing. It was a bit of a pricier day, I guess, but I feel like this is such an iconic part of Bali that it's definitely worth it. You got to do it at least once. We spent maybe like an hour and a half there. If you get lunch, you'll probably need about 2 hours there. Another really fun thing we did while in Bali was go to a coffee plantation. There are a few of them around. We went to one that's in Ubud. As soon as you walk in, there's a guide who takes you and tells you about each of the plants, what they're used for, how they take care of it, etc., etc. Then you also get to see the luwak. They make special coffee from his poop. They explain the entire process. They show you the beans. They show you how they clean it and how they process his poop beans into coffee. It was really interesting. And as far as I'm concerned, it was very sanitary. Once you finish that little tour, it probably takes about 10-15 minutes, depending on how many questions you ask. They take you to this little restaurant area, and they give you this guide of all of the teas and coffees and tell you what they are. And then they bring you samples of each of the coffees and the teas. All of these sample drinks are free, which is really awesome because I feel like that's you just can't be free. That's a really good deal. But if you want to try the luwak coffee, it was about $5.50 Australian. Honestly, I'm not a really big fan of luwak coffee. Neither was my husband. It was way too strong for us. But I mean, if you're coming to a coffee plantation where they use luwak poop to make coffee, then I feel like you need to try it at least once. We really liked the hot cocoa, the mochaccino, the coconut coffee, and surprisingly, I loved the avocado coffee. I thought that was so good. I loved all of the teas. The ginger tea was probably the best ginger tea I've ever had, but I just don't really like ginger, so it's kind of hard for me to drink. After you do all of your coffee and tea tasting, they take you to the little gift shop, and then you can buy any little treats there. Another fun must-do in Ubud is the Merlin's restaurant. This is probably one of my highlights of the trip because I love all things like this, Harry Potter, wizarding, Lord of the Rings. It just was a really fun experience, and the food was so good here. You are going to want to make reservations for this restaurant. I had a little bit of a hard time getting in, and we were in off-season in Bali. They also are only open at 2 p.m. Or they don't open until 2 p.m. There we go. When you sit down, they give you these little towels that you put in water, and then it expands. The whole atmosphere was just so fun. They had all different flavors of these magical wizarding drinks. Everything in this restaurant is just very intentional. But one of my favorite parts about this restaurant is that when your waiter comes over, she'll bring you some tarot cards and you can pick 3 of them. There's this deal for $60 Australian. You get an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. And the tarot cards, once you pick them, they'll tell you your little fortune, your little reading, whatever. And then there's a code at the bottom and it matches to a menu item. These are the cards that I got, but don't worry, if you don't like the food, you can pick something else. I ended up doing that for some of my courses. So here are my cards. And then my husband also did his as well. He ends up picking a few different things as well, though. For my appetizer, I had this charcuterie board, and I am still thinking about this charcuterie board weeks later. It was so good. My husband had empanadas, and then for the main course, I had steak, mashed potatoes, asparagus. My husband had a pasta. All of the food was just so amazing. And then also, this was such a sweet little touch, but I had put in our little booking that it was our honeymoon. So they came over, they gave us a cake, and it said happy honeymoon on it. And honestly, this was my favorite dessert. It was so yummy. And then he also came over with this little goodie box. And then I opened it up and there was a little gift inside of it for us as well. Like I said, this whole restaurant is just so intentional. Everything is just so cute and they have all these little details hidden within. So inside of the box was a little pink heartstone. I forget exactly what kind of crystal stone it was, but it's supposed to represent lasting love. And I don't know if anybody else knows exactly what that is and what that means. Let me know because I forgot, but it was very, very sweet. And then this is the dessert I got from my tarot card. It was really, really good and it was so cool how they presented it. They also have a gift shop at the bottom of the restaurant once you're done eating. So we looked around, didn't get anything unfortunately, but everything inside was so cool. I felt like I was back at Hogwarts at Universal. It was really cool. And honestly, I can't wait to go back because, the whole experience was really, really fun and awesome. But the food was incredible. Like, I still think about my charcuterie board and that cheese board and the steak. Whew, it was amazing. Lastly, here is another tour that we did while in Bali. It's a Tanah Lot Uluwatu Kekak and Fire Dance tour. The tour is called Indag Bali Tour and it cost $50 USD or about $75 Australian. So if you go and book this on TripAdvisor, they're going to ask you if you want to pre-book all of your tickets to all like the beach and all the entrances. Our guide told us not to do that and to instead just bring cash and then buy the booking or like the entrance tickets at each location you go to instead. He said it's cheaper that way because on TripAdvisor, you're going to be paying for the taxes. Our first stop was Tanah Lot, which took us about an hour and a half from Sukawati. Tanah Lot is a very iconic part of Balinese culture and it's the most spiritual site in Bali. It was built in the 16th century. And the temple is dedicated to the sea gods and is surrounded by other sea temples along Bali's coast. A lot of visitors will come for the spiritual significance and also just for the beautiful views that it is right on the coast. At Tanah Lot, you can actually get blessed by a priest there with holy water. Our next stop was Padang Padang Beach. It's the most famous surf spot in Bali and was also featured in Eat, Pray, Love, Julia Roberts movie. Just be careful when you go here. It's a beautiful beach, but there are a lot of monkeys around and some of them can be quite aggressive. So just keep an eye out for that. Walk to the beach is also quite steep, so just be careful when you're walking down. There are a few places where you can grab a bite to eat, which is what we did, and it was such good seafood. Anyway, after we were done with the beach, we went to another little restaurant that was right next to the Uluwatu Temple. And then after we ate, we went to the Uluwatu Temple where we got our tickets. And if you're not wearing a long enough skirt, they'll give you a purple little skirt to wear, and everybody has to wear this orange sash around when they enter the temple. The Uluwatu Temple is so beautiful. It is really busy here, but it's so beautiful, especially at sunset. And be careful, there are a lot of monkeys here as well, and some of them can be quite aggressive. So make sure you put your sunglasses away and your phone away because monkeys have been known to grab them out of people's hands and run off with them. Our tour guide said that one monkey took his phone out of his hands, took off the phone case, and took it up on a roof, and they had to bribe the monkey with some food to get it back. So just be careful. After exploring the temple, we then went and got sat for the Kekak and Fire Dance. They gave us a pamphlet which told us the story that they were acting out in the dance. This was such a beautiful and fun experience of experiencing Balinese culture, and I really think everybody should do this at least once when they come to Bali. Anyway, those are a few fun things we did while in Bali. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and follow along for the rest of our journey.